So when I was a little kid, my father, Tony Jones, he wasn't the best person to look up to. He was an alcoholic, drug dealer. He hit on my mom, was in and out of my life. Something in my heart always wanted him to be around. And even though he always broke every single promise, I was so happy when he came around. And he was super inconsistent, and there was a lot of things. But one thing I never forgot was anytime that I would try to do something in my life and my whole family would doubt me, if I would try to sing, if I would try to dance, anything that I would do, and they was like, oh, Garrain, you can't do this, you can't do that. My dad was the only person in my family that stuck up for me, and I never forgot that. So even after all the times he broke promises, one thing I carried with me today was no matter what, if I want to do something, it doesn't matter what anybody says, I'm going to do it. And, for me, now I try not to look at all the negative things and focus on what's right with things. And for a long time, I was old, poor, pity me. My dad was this. He was murdered when I was 12 years old. He was an alcoholic. He was a drug dealer. He was in and out of my life. And from that, I was inconsistent because the only thing that I ever saw when I was a little kid was inconsistency. Him coming in, him coming out, him being with my mom, him hitting on my mom. And that's something that a child should never go through. But as I learn now, anything that you go through is something that you have the opportunity to grow through, and it's actually a lesson that can teach you what to never do if you don't want the same outcomes as what happened to my father. When I was in Texas, I remember when I was real young, I used to say, man, where I'm from, this is a breeding ground for talented people that never do anything with their life. And nobody ever leaves. The valedictorian, all the major athletes that were scouted at every school, nobody ever left. And people that stayed, they partied their lives away. They were doing drugs. They had 1,000 kids, which is not a bad thing, but everything that they talked about never happened. And I remember as a child, I said, if I ever want anything with my life, I'm going to have to leave. And I'm going to have to experience new things. And this was before I was even on the self-development journey. So one day, I could have gone to 12 different colleges for track and field. And I was just like, I'm just going to leave. I'm not staying here. Everybody thought I was crazy. My mom, my grandmother. I call my grandmother my biggest hater because she was the first person that was like, you can't do this. I was like, what? But I left and I went to Kansas because I'm thinking, okay, Kansas is totally different than Missouri City, Texas. I get to Kansas, there's a tornado, there's a hurricane, nothing changed. Nothing. It was like literally I changed locations and everything stayed the same. And then I ended up leaving that school and I told myself, if I want something different, I'm going to have to go to someplace totally different where I don't know nobody. So I said, I'm going to go to LA. My mom, my grandmother, all my friends, everybody said, you're crazy. And I remember saying that crazy people are the only people that get anything done in life. And I just left. I didn't even have a plan. I just left. And I came to LA, was at Santa Monica, and they told me to pick a major. I was like, psychology. After I chose psychology as my major, I have this thing. If I don't feel it in my heart, I can't continue with it. So, I ended up leaving school. I don't encourage people to leave school, but for me, it just wasn't the right choice for me. But funny enough, me being excited to help people get through whatever they're getting through, when it came time for the opportunity for me now to share my life experiences with people, it gave me the platform and the opportunity to speak on stages, 15, 20,000 people, and share from that same place that I did when I was a little kid. So now me being a public speaker and sharing and helping people transform mind, body, and spirit, completely turn into the best version of themselves from the less version of themselves. It was almost like it was guiding me my whole life. It was like hitting the sweet spot and I was trying to walk away from it. You know, so I found myself in music. I found myself in all these things, trying to search for something. But it wasn't until I said, I've had enough, that's when I made a decision to do something and fully go into something that I never would do. I was signed to Disturbing the Peace with Ludacris. And a lot of people even asked me, why did I choose them? You know, for me, when somebody tells me you don't have to change anything about yourself, you know, I always lead with my heart in anything that I do. And so I got signed because they were like, we want you as you are. You don't have to change anything. So I ended up leaving because my heart wasn't in it. And I didn't have a falling out with anybody. For me, when I don't feel like I'm being true to myself, I start getting bored in the studio. I start getting bored around people. You know, my environment, me rapping on stage with gangster rappers and doing all the kind of music that didn't get me the deal in the first place, which it wasn't anybody else's fault but mine because I allowed it. And when I stopped allowing it, that's when I asked for a release. I never signed for the money in the first place, so it was no thing me leaving if I was gonna lose money, because I wasn't trying to do the money. I just wanted to get my creativity out any way that I could. But that led me on a journey to just simply trying to find something, find a way to be to create. But people had been telling me that I was good and I was great for so long that I allowed that to get to my head. And it was me. It wasn't anybody else. It was me. I allowed my pride, my ego, and excuses actually run my life. And I gave that more power than I did my own creativity. So in trying to find myself and trying to find an opportunity to make money, to be heard, to be on the radio, I lost myself trying to be 10,000 other people. Started writing songs, wrote for Jordan Sparks, wrote for Chris Brown, wrote for just a bunch of ghostwriting for a bunch of rappers. But I tried to become them in the studio, and in the midst of me trying to become a lot of people, I lost who I really was. And when I lost who I really was, I did not know how to rebound. So the money ran out. I couldn't pay for my house. Most people don't even know that I lived out of my car. So meanwhile, I'm trying to make it, but I leave the studio and I go to my car. So 1 week turned into 2 months, turned into a year, turned into 2.5 years. I was living out of my green Jeep Wrangler that I bought with the money from my record deal, you know. And I was so numb with the emotions, I wouldn't even allow, because of my pride, I wouldn't allow myself to listen to anybody. So it got to the point to where I felt so used up, just from the point of I would sleep at different girls' house and I didn't even want to stay there no more, because I was like, don't touch me. I just want to sleep. I want to have some food to eat, but I don't want to anything else. And I felt so lost. Like I would look in the mirror and I didn't care whether I live or died. Most people don't even know that. They would see me, they're like, oh man, I'm trying to get like you. I was like, you have no idea that I'm like a walking corpse right now. And so I'm just looking and I'm searching for things and I'm trying to hit people up. All the people that were my friends, everybody turned their back on me. Everybody, you know. And people say, well, why don't you go home? I said, home is worse than being homeless. And plus I had my pride. They're like, why don't you contact your brother? I'm like, that's worse than being homeless too. And it's nothing that he did. It's just like when energies don't match, it's going to clash every single time. So I became a victim of my own circumstances Meanwhile, I'm trying to go in the studio and I'm trying to produce great music, but I couldn't. You got to put your heart into it. How can you put your heart when you don't even love yourself? It got to the point where my own daughter was like, Daddy, you don't love me no more. And I'm going out to the club. I'm talking to my my publisher. They're like, well, you have this with this person. It was like my mind could not catch up. And I was like, why does this keep happening to me? Why does this same thing keep happening? Why do I keep attracting these same circumstances? I'm on my way to go. I had like 1,000 parking tickets, and I'm fronting in the industry like I was really doing it. And meanwhile, I can't even take care of myself. I got 1,000 parking tickets, and one day somebody loaned me some money. I don't even know who it was. They were like, thank you for always being true to yourself. And somebody sent me like $1,400 in a PayPal. I still to this day don't know who it was. God bless you. So I went and take this money and I wanted to go pay off all my tickets. I'm driving right down the street. Right down the street. I'm a block away from the courthouse, and a police car pulls me over and tows my car, and I got 5 full bags of clothes, and I'm sitting at a vacant lot, and I'm like, is this what my life has come to? Talented, broke. I started putting on weight, and I didn't everybody in my family is plus size. My mom was 200 plus. My brother 325. Overweight overweight nieces. Everybody's overweight. But I would not allow myself to listen to nobody. Meanwhile, my mom was like, you should do something in health and fitness. My own girlfriend was like, you should do something in health and fitness. Random people, you should do something in health and fitness. And I wouldn't listen to nobody. I got to go to the studio. It was like this programmed robot. I got to go to studio. 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 And at that point, I lost myself. Like, gone. Like, people would look at me and there was nothing. I would look in the mirror and I would see nothing. And I didn't care. If I get hit by a car, it does not matter. Nobody's going to miss Garrain Jones, Steph Jones. Where they at now? Where was they at? So I was looking. I'm like, these same people, they're saying, oh man, I love, like, you're so awesome. And then I just call them not wanting anything. Nobody would return my call. And it was at that point, after 2.5 years, fronting like everything was okay, being at parties like I sold 1 million records. Oh, you're doing it, you're really doing it. And I got faked out by the blogs. I allowed myself to get faked out by the blogs because I didn't stay true to who Garrain Jones was, the person who I was born 1979, July 3rd. I left him, completely left him. The turning point of all of that, because this was like spinning circle going nowhere. August 15th, 2011. I was in my Jeep on La Brea and Hollywood at the Mail and More post office. And I used to go there all the time because that was the one place that was the most consistent in my life since I was 18 years old. So I felt some kind of home there. I'm in my Jeep, and my whole life I've never felt every time somebody prayed, I never felt it. Oh, Father God, I just would completely shut it off. That night was the first night in my entire life I said the rawest prayer. It was curse words and everything. The rawest prayer. The only difference is I didn't talk about what I didn't want. My whole life, I was like, I don't want this kind of girlfriend. I don't want this. I don't want this. Because when you talk about what you don't want, you still manifest what you don't want, because that's what you're focused on. And whatever you're focused on, that'll become your reality. I said everything in specifics of what I wanted with my life. I said, I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive. And I'm at peak state, crying, my tears, curse words coming out. I want nothing. I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive people. I want to sing, but I split it up. I said, I want to sing. I want to be on stage inspiring thousands of people all over the world. I want to make a bunch of money, but I want the money to represent something that I passionately believe in that I would do for free. I want to be healthy. And I was very specific, like putting a specific address in the GPS. Very specific. Whatever you tell me to do, show me a sign, and I promise not to take that sign and reroute it to what I want to do. Whatever I'm supposed to do, I'll do it. And I just said it. And then from that point, I still didn't know. I didn't know what the sign was going to be. I just said what I wanted with my life. Then I was at a gas station, right? So I took my last $2, and I think I was in like Torrance or something like that. $4.59 of gas. I was on E. Took my last $2 to the gas station. Homeless guy walks up to me and says, "You have any money?" I said, "I don't have." I said, "You got more money than me." And he looked at me. It was almost like he turned into another person. It was the weirdest thing. And he said, "Change your mindset, change your life. Change your mindset, change your life. Change your mindset, change your life." He said it like 25 times. And he just started, like, if you ever seen the movie Rain Man, and he starts walking away. Change your mindset, change your life. And from that point, I had never had words do something to me. Not like that. So it was like it woke me up from my sleep. Like, change your mindset, change your life. From that day, anything that I did, that I said, I don't feel like doing this, or I don't want to do this, I kept hearing his voice. Change your mindset, change your life. So whatever I would not do, I did the opposite. I observed the masses and I did the opposite. I don't feel like doing this, so I got to do it. I don't like using bar soap, so I'm going to start using it. I don't want to take the escalator, so I'm going to take the stairs. And it was something little that I didn't know was training my brain to become a new person. Then my ex-girlfriend came down from Miami and she was like, "Baby, let's go to the Santa Monica stairs." I'm like, "Why do you want to go to Santa Monica stairs? It's raining and it's traffic. It's going to take an hour and a half to get there. We're right next to Runyon Canyon. Why don't we go to Runyon Canyon?" She was like, "Because I want to go to Santa Monica stairs." I'm like, why do you want to do the hard thing when we can do the easy thing? This is more convenient. We're only a minute away. Why do you want to go? And I was hella exaggerating. I was like, why do you want to go over the mountain and through the woods and go an hour and a half out of the way in the rain, in the traffic, just so you can go to some little Santa Monica stairs? She was like, "Baby, please." And that voice came in again. Change your mindset, change your life. And I don't want to go. Okay, let's go. So from that point, we drove an hour and a half in traffic, in the rain, get to Santa Monica stairs. Next thing you know, I'm running, I'm doing my usual routine. I come up, I see some buff dude with tattoos that's like way more cut than me, because how I look now, I thought I looked like back then when I was 37 pounds heavier with no abs, and I was just letting myself go, not caring about who I saw in the mirror. But I thought I looked like that back then until I saw somebody who was like, dang. So my pride was crazy. We were talking about girl, like, in my head, just like very insecure. And this dude was so friendly. He was like, hey man, you ever been to a fit camp? And he was just super nice. And I'm like, this clown trying to talk to my girl, whatever. I'm saying all these different things in my head. And change your mindset, change your life. Change your mindset. He gave me a card. I was like, I ain't gonna call this clown. He tried to talk to my girl. Change your mindset, change your life. Grabbed the card, ripped up the card. A week later, I go to the gas station, come back. The ripped up card, I don't know, maybe my girl took the card, but the card was under my seat. And I'm like, am I supposed to have this card? Change your mindset, change your life. I picked it up and I said, I do not want to call this clown. Change your mindset, change your life. And I called him. When I called him, he was super friendly. He invited me down to a workout with like 375 people on the beach. It was like the movie 300 meets Healthy Active Lifestyle. And everybody was friendly. And I was super skeptical because in my mind, friendly people in the movies, they're the ones that be the first to kill you in the next scene. So I was like, nah, this can't be real. It's fake. Wait, these results aren't real. It's fake. Meanwhile, the people that I'm looking at in the before and after photos are right next to me. I'm like, oh, it's a scam. It's all this stuff. But they're talking about making a difference in the world. They're talking about goals and dreams and aspirations and bigging each other up. Stuff that I've never been, especially in this music industry, where people will look at you in your face. It's like, I'm so proud of you. Turn their back and then curse your whole life. And I know this for a fact. 99% goes down like that. But it was like so consistent how everybody was like, and even successful people wanted you to be successful and they will give you all of the tools to be successful. So something happened in my brain because every day I was like, I don't want to do this. Change your mindset, change your life. Then I went to my first meeting and they were talking about leadership, personal development, the power of positive thinking, and all of these different things that started to connect the dots from when I was a little kid, why I was drawn to psychology, why I was drawn to help people, to give service in the first place. And I was like, oh, I like that, 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 I like that. I love that. I love it, I love it, I love. Wait a second. This is what I prayed for. Wait, I'm around nothing but positive people. Wait, they're sending me to Brazil next week to speak on stage in front of 18,000 people. Just coming in and being around people that challenged my weaknesses, that encouraged my strengths, told me I was special, told me I mattered, told me I was important, things I've never heard in my life. I was around a bunch of thugs and drug dealers and stuff growing up, so you become a product of your environment. But now I'm surrounded by this environment that are living a healthy, active lifestyle, and it was much more than the products. They were just like, no, you need more. You need to do more. You need to give more, become more. Well, my mom looks at me and when she called me crying saying, thank you for saving my life. Now down 92 pounds. My brother down 125 pounds. All my friends ripped up. We get to make money together, travel together. So many different things that was tied to things that I've been looking for my whole life. You can't be happy if you're not healthy because how you feel affects your thoughts. Your thoughts affect your words affect your actions, and your actions affect the outcome. Recycle, rinse, and repeat, and share that with as many people as you can.